You can do everything right for a woman and still lose her, and for a long time you won't understand why. You've seen this happen, maybe not in your own life, maybe not yet, but you've watched it unfold around you. A man providing, sacrificing, showing up consistently, and somewhere along the way she's gone. What makes this so difficult is that he often walks away convinced he failed because he wasn't enough. He wasn't generous enough, wasn't present enough, wasn't doing enough. But here's what almost no one tells him. His effort was never the actual foundation of her loyalty to begin with. That's the invisible gap most men don't see until it's too late. There's something happening in her right now, something that determines whether she stays or leaves, and it has almost nothing to do with what you do for her. By the end of this conversation, you're going to know exactly what that one thing is. More than that, you'll be able to recognize whether you're building it or whether you're unknowingly destroying it. And that changes everything about how you move forward. Most men believe loyalty is something you earn through effort. It isn't, and believing that is quietly costing them. We are taught this from childhood. Work hard, provide, sacrifice, and loyalty will follow. It feels logical. It feels fair. A man gives, a woman recognizes his generosity, and she stays. That's the transaction most men are playing by. But a transaction is exactly what this is not. Watch what actually happens over time. A man can spend money, take her places, adjust his schedule around her needs, show up for her problems, and she can still feel distant. She can still leave. And he walks away saying he did everything wrong. He thinks if he had been more generous, more attentive, more willing to put her first, the outcome would have changed. But he's looking at the wrong metric entirely. Loyalty in women is not built on a ledger of favors. It's not calculated by adding up kind gestures and subtracting conflicts. This is the fundamental misunderstanding that keeps men chasing the wrong thing. A woman can feel genuinely grateful for what a man does and still feel no loyalty to him. Gratitude and loyalty are not the same currency. One is about appreciation, the other is about attachment. And attachment, real attachment, operates on an entirely different system than most men realize. Loyalty isn't decided in her mind. It's decided somewhere deeper, somewhere she doesn't fully control. When neuroscientists study attachment, they don't find it operating in the thinking brain at all. They find it in the nervous system, the ancient part of her that responds to safety, predictability, and felt security. This is why effort alone can never build loyalty. Effort lives in the thinking brain. It's a conscious choice you make, but loyalty lives somewhere else entirely. It lives in whether she feels safe with you. And safety is not created by what you provide. Safety is created by how you make her feel when she is around you, and critically, how you are when things become difficult. There's a woman somewhere right now who is more loyal to a man who makes less money than she does, who can't give her the things she thought she wanted because he makes her nervous system feel like it can relax around him. He's predictable. He's steady. He doesn't blow up when frustrated. He doesn't disappear when she needs him. He doesn't make her manage his emotions. Her brain has learned that around him the threat level is low. That is the foundation of real loyalty. Not gratitude for what he provides, not appreciation for his effort, but a felt sense of safety that her nervous system has learned to associate with his presence. Of course, this doesn't mean every man who is calm is automatically loyal. Context always matters. But it does mean that a man who is generous but reactive, who provides for her but is unpredictable emotionally, will never build the kind of loyalty that lasts. Safety alone isn't the full picture. There's a second ingredient most men overlook entirely. Here it is, the one thing that actually holds her loyalty in place. And it has nothing to do with your bank account. It's emotional consistency, not perfection, not always being happy or always having the right answer, but consistency, steadiness of mood, steadiness of reaction, steadiness of presence. A woman can predict how you will respond to most situations. She knows roughly what to expect from you, and that predictability, as strange as it may sound, is what makes her feel loyal to you. Think about two men for a moment. One makes good money, takes her to nice places, buys her gifts, but his mood swings with the weather. One day he's affectionate and engaged. The next day something minor has frustrated him and he's withdrawn. She never quite knows which version of him she's getting. The other man is steady. His income is modest. He can't take her everywhere she imagined going. But she knows who she's getting every single day. She knows how he'll react to bad news. She knows he won't punish her with silence if she does something that bothers him. She knows he'll stay present even when things are difficult. Which man do you think she feels loyal to? This is not a close call. Real loyalty goes to the consistent man, not because she has reasoned through it, but because her nervous system has learned that consistency equals safety. And her attachment has formed around that safety. That's the core of it. Emotional consistency is what women are actually loyal to. And this is exactly where most men, without meaning to, start to lose what they worked so hard to build. You can be a good provider and still be the reason her loyalty is quietly slipping. This happens so often that it deserves real attention. A man is doing well. He's taking care of things. He's showing up in the ways he was taught to show up. But he's not managing his emotional consistency. Maybe he's stressed about work and he brings that tension home every day. Maybe something she did irritated him, and instead of addressing it directly, he's cold to her. Maybe he's distracted, half present, scrolling through his phone while she's talking, and then frustrated when she seems emotionally distant. Maybe he reacts sharply to something small, then acts like it didn't happen, leaving her unsure if she did something wrong. These aren't dramatic betrayals. These are small inconsistencies that accumulate. They teach her nervous system that he is not as safe as she thought, that she can't predict him, that she needs to stay on guard around him, and loyalty begins to erode. Now, you might be thinking, but what if she's the one who's being difficult? What if she's the one creating the instability? Sometimes yes, but here's the critical detail. Her loyalty to you is determined by your consistency, not hers. You cannot control her mood or her reactions, but you can control yours. You can choose whether you bring your stress into the relationship or whether you handle it separately. You can choose whether you respond or react. You can choose whether you stay present or withdraw. Most men miss this entirely. They think if they just provide enough, give enough, do enough, the loyalty will stay intact. But they're not protecting what actually matters. There's one signal beneath all of this that almost no one talks about, and it's usually the last thing men figure out. If you want to know what really earns her loyalty, don't look at your best days together. Look at your worst ones. This is where the truth lives. This is where loyalty is actually forged or broken. When everything is going well, when you're both happy and things feel easy, anyone can be consistent. Anyone can be calm. Anyone can be present. But when something goes wrong, when you disagree, when she's upset with you, when pressure comes, that's when you see who you actually are. And that's when she sees whether she can trust you. Think about what happens when she brings you something she's worried about or upset about. Does you immediately try to fix it, or do you listen first? Does you get defensive, or do you stay open? When she's frustrated with you, do you explode, or do you stay steady? When you're frustrated with her, do you withdraw and make her guess what's wrong, or do you communicate directly? These moments feel small in the moment. One disagreement, one time you handled it well or poorly, but your nervous system and hers are paying very close attention. She's learning whether you can be trusted when things are difficult. She's learning whether your consistency extends to hard moments or whether that's when you fall apart. A man who can be generous on a good day but reactive on a bad one is not building loyalty. He's teaching her that his steadiness is conditional, that it's only there when things are easy, that when she needs him most to be predictable and calm, he might not be. That's the moment her loyalty starts to shift. A man who is consistent even when things are hard, even when he's frustrated, even when he disagrees, even when pressure is high. That's the man her nervous system learns to trust completely. That's the man she becomes truly loyal to. Once you see this clearly, you can't unsee it in your own life, and that changes how you move forward. What we've covered here is not a list of things to memorize. It's a single unified truth about how loyalty actually works. Women are not loyal to effort. They are not loyal to provision. They are not loyal to sacrifice. They are loyal to emotional consistency, to a man who is steady, predictable, and calm, especially when things are difficult. This is the real foundation. And the reason this matters so much is because it means loyalty is not something outside your control. You don't have to wonder if you're good enough, rich enough, or doing enough. You just have to be steady. You don't need to overanalyze every interaction or measure yourself against some invisible standard. You need to know this one thing. Her loyalty grows in proportion to your consistency. That is empowering because it's entirely within your hands. You can choose to manage your emotions. You can choose to stay present. You can choose to be predictable in how you respond, even when things are hard. That choice made consistently is what builds real loyalty. Think about the last disagreement you had with her. Were you predictable or were you reactive? Tell me honestly in the comments. Next time we'll look at the exact moment this loyalty starts to crack in long relationships and why it's usually the most devoted men who miss it happening.